call the village board meeting for the Village of Cary for June 21st, 2022 to order with roll call, please.
Collier,
Here.
Weinhammer,
Here.
Walrath,
Here.
Dudek,
Here.
McAlpine,
Here.
Cavelli.
For the record, Trustee Cavelli is attending via remote. Trustee Cavelli?
She appears to be muted.
Okay. We'll go ahead with Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going crazy.
Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I think the people that are here are on the agenda, so we'll go ahead and close open forum at 6:01. Okay, thank you. One thing on Mayor's report today, I have a proclamation for National Recreation and Parks Month. Whereas parks and recreation areas generate opportunities for people to come together and experience the sense of community through fun recreational pursuits, and whereas parks, playgrounds, natural trails, nature trails, open spaces, community and cultural centers, and historic sites make communities attractive and desirable places to live, work, play, and visit in a manner that contributes to our ongoing economic vitality, and whereas employees and volunteers in public parks and recreational facilities keep these parks and facilities clean, safe, and enjoyable for visitors, organize youth, adult, senior, family, and community activities, provide educational programming, advocate for more open space and better trails, and fundraise for local improvements. Therefore, I, Mark Koenig, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim July as Recreational and Parks Month in the Village of Cary and encourage all citizens to celebrate healthy, active lifestyles by participating in their choice of recreation and park activities, dated this 21st day of June, 2022. And this is a perfect time to congratulate the Park District on their outstanding job of completing their Sunburst Bay pool and recreation area, slides and everything. It's humming along over there. They just opened up on Saturday, so we're very excited to be part of this community that offers these great opportunities for our residents. Is there anything, trustee reports? I'm not aware of anything. Does anybody have anything they'd like to contribute? Okay, moving forward, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through J as shown on the village's website and displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Collier.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving to items for separate action. I will entertain a motion to approve a waiver of certain application requirements for a plan development application related to the development of the Sulky property.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Director Simmons?
Thank you, Mayor, Village Board. This evening, we have Prairie Enterprises and their development team are present here this evening to give a brief overview of their project. As proposed, they're seeking to develop a portion of the Selkie property for a mini warehouse or public storage facility. As part of the PUD approval process, they do have the ability to ask for certain waivers of application requirements related to a petition for the project. And this evening, they are proposing to, or seeking to request waivers for 4 of the application requirements that are specified in the staff report. Specifically a traffic study, economic analysis study, off-site utility improvement plan, and then the open house resident meeting requirement per the PUD standards. So staff recommends support of the application waivers for this specific project as detailed in the staff report, but I'll be able to turn over to Prairie Enterprises to give a little bit more of an overview of themselves, what they're looking to do on the property, and then more background on their project and waiver request as well.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Lindley. I'm the general manager, owner of Prairie Enterprises. My father is Jerry Lindley. He's the owner and our engineer is Josh Terpstra with Hager Engineering. I'd like to go ahead and turn the floor over to my dad regarding his background with the storage units, and then I'll talk about my background.
A little bit of history about Prairie Enterprises. First location we made was in Marengo, Illinois in the year of 2000. And we started out with 3 buildings. And since the buildings were we have had 2 additions to that facility, and it's now up and running and doing well. And then in 2002, we opened Lake in the Hills with the addition of three buildings, and we've added 2 more since. And then at the same time in 2015, we purchased an outfit called Big Stuff that's down the street for us, which is designed for motorhomes and big vehicles. They're all 15 by 40 units. And then in 2017, we bought a facility in Carpentersville, and I can tell you that they're all producing well, and we're happy with them, and we think our clientele is happy. In fact, we've got a waiting list in many cases to get in, and that's kind of the story of where we are. If you have any questions about how we develop it, I would be glad to answer them. I would tell you that Carl's going to tell you the rest of the story.
We have a very diverse customer base, from single families all the way to apartments. We also have a few small businesses that are also running their businesses out of the storage facility as they use it as a staging area for their product. We also have a diverse aspect too. The Big Stuff storage is kind of unique in the situation. It's a 15 by 40 or a 15 by 80, so it can go dual doors on both sides. We are going to be putting one of those kind of buildings up at this location as well. Typical market area is industrial, and in the area that we are currently looking at, we have industrial on one side of us, and also around that area, it's heavily in need of storage facilities. The demand is so high that currently we are sitting at about 95% occupancy, and that's been steady for the last couple years. We did have a little bit of a downturn during the COVID, but it popped right back up again. The creation of this is a benefit to the community as well. It kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that people will be coming into the gas station there at Thornton's, and the possibility of the car wash in that area too. So it fits in very well for that area sitting in the back of that building. As you can see by this slide, we're projecting the 5.48 acres. And then Thornton's and the car wash will be there, and then there will be an additional something down at the bottom eventually. There's nothing planned for right now. This is the proposed site right now. As you can see, there's an office right there, right across from Thornton's. And then there are 6 other additional buildings, and then that are going to be standard units, we call them. They're not climate controlled. And then there is the larger one, that's the 3rd one down in the middle, that is a climate controlled building. And then the one up towards Jandis Cutoff, that's what we call Big Stuff storage. It'll be a 15 by 45. And I will turn it now over to Josh Terpstra in reference to the request for the approvals.
Josh is with Hager Engineering out of Schaumburg.
Everybody, thanks, Jerry. So Kyle touched on most of the site plan on that that slide, the proposed access would be from Jandis Cutoff Road and shared access with Thornton's. So for the requested approvals, the first one is just to amend the overall PUD site plan to incorporate the proposed site plan that we just showed you. And then the second requested approval is to modify the PUD to allow for self-storage use. Technically, in the village ordinance, it's considered a mini warehouse. Kyle touched on it a little bit. We think it's a good area for it. Kyle and Jerry are very optimistic about it. It works well with the manufacturing to the southwest, and then they're hoping it will be sort of a symbiotic relationship with the Thorntons and the car wash, and generate shared trips and things like that. So that's the second requested approval. And then the third requested approval is a zoning departure to allow for reduced parking. I think the ordinance as written would require about 22 or 23 spaces for approximately 500 storage units. As Jerry mentioned, they've been at this for a long time, and most of their other units have 3 to 5 parking spots for visitor parking. And in their experience, usually those are not used. It's very rare for there to be more than one visitor at the same time. And typically, their existing customers will come in through the front gate, which is open 24/7, and they'll use a keypad. And the typical visit, the customer will come in, park in front of their unit, and maybe they're there for 5 minutes, 15 minutes. They're there for a little while, and the proposed drive aisle widths in the site plan are 30 feet, so they can allow someone to be parked at their unit, and other people can easily maneuver around them because of the extra wide drive aisles. So. And then the visitor parking is located outside of the security gate, and we're proposing 5 spaces for that. And again, based on their experience, they don't expect that to be an issue. In fact, they expect to need less than that, but they're proposing 5. So that's the third requested approval. And then for tonight, Brian mentioned we have requested 4 waivers. The first waiver is a traffic study. Self-storages typically have lower traffic impacts. If you compare to the manufacturing facility to the south, they'll typically have a peak in the morning and in the evening or during lunch or a shift change where you have a large number of vehicles entering the road. Self-storage facilities traditionally have a much lower, sort of a steady drip throughout the day, and it's off-peak hours. And they're confident that the Jandis Cutoff Road and shared access with the Thorntons will be more than adequate, so they are requesting a waiver on that item. Jerry mentioned for the second request, the economic analysis. Jerry mentioned they're a successful business. They've been running for a couple decades. They're very confident. They love this piece of land, and they're very optimistic about the prospects of the business here. So they're requesting a waiver for that one. Third one is off-site utility improvements. The Thorntons actually is expanding some of the sanitary and water main and dry utilities, and if needed, they intend to connect to those stubs that are right there adjacent to them on that shared lot line with the Thorntons. So they're requesting a waiver there. And then the last item is the written summary of resident comments, that comment period. I think Brian noted in his report, there's only 4 homes within 250 feet. They're to the west. They're across Jandis Cutoff Road and on the other side of the ComEd right-of-way there. So it's mostly a commercial area with businesses and manufacturing. So that's their last waiver request. And we sort of went over everything briefly. As Jerry mentioned, we'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody wants to get into anything more specifically. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Brian.
I'd like to add one more thing. We are owner and operator. We've done this as a family of business since the first location. Right now, we do also currently have maybe about 15 to 20 current residents of Cary that do travel all the way to Lake in the Hills to store with us. So there is a need for that in this town. So if there's any questions, we'd like to go ahead and take those now.
Yeah, and just to reiterate too, this is the initial step in the process. Obviously, if a petition is submitted, we'll go forward before the zoning board for a public hearing, the formally review the requests, and then any recommendation out of the ZPA would come back to the village board for formal consideration on the project. As mentioned, the proposed use is not a use that's allowed within the underlying B2 district currently as of today. So as part of the PUD, the amendment that they're requesting would allow for a use exception as part of that PUD, which would allow the use to be a permitted use in this district. So it essentially would create, with a PUD ordinance for development plan for the property, would create a specific zoning district, if you will, under that PUD that would allow this use in addition to other uses that are also permitted within the zoning district. So if any of the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer from a staff perspective, from the zoning perspective, or the development teams here as well to answer questions regarding their project.
Thank you. I'm going to take it from here. I just wanted to thank you very much for giving the Village of Cary a good look and finding a piece of property that you think it would fit your project. That's always exciting. The one problem that we have you been made aware of our comprehensive plan? We have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and a lot of public input determining where our future is. The piece of property that you're looking at has been identified through that process, through our comprehensive plan, our strategic planning, and also our downtown redevelopment, because it kind of skirts into that particular area. That parcel that you're looking at does not fit within our comprehensive planning needs. Therefore, we're looking for more retail operations, more service-based type of operations for that particular parcel. It goes back to our long-term planning. This has been going on for many, many years. We're waiting for this piece of property to finally subdivide. It took several years for that piece of property to subdivide. It was all one parcel. And when it was finally able to be subdivided, we were able to start entertaining more opportunities. The village is embarking on also more vibrant, hardy economic development. We're going to be bringing on a consultant that's going to help us every step of the way. And unfortunately, the piece of property that you're looking at does not fit the needs. And I think our staff has been pretty upfront with you. We like to be very transparent with people that come before us that this particular use for that piece of property does not fit in with our comprehensive plan. There is nobody on the board that will support this. We are very determined to, in all the years started my 10th year as mayor, at no time has anybody ever said, we need more storage facilities. I hear it week after week after week, we need more retail. We may need more opportunities for us. And from an economic base, we need something in the retail that will continuously bring back revenue to the village. Those services through the retail and other services provide a much more needed service to the Village of Cary than a storage unit. So I'm telling you, the waivers that you're asking for are very reasonable. In a normal situation, we would have no problems granting these waivers. And if you choose to continue knowing that the village board does not support this use, we'll be more than happy to grant you these waivers. But I will be quite honest with you, the village board does not support this project on this parcel.
We were never made aware of the fact that you would not consider this. We met with Brian, we met with the other real estate person who's said that basically that this was going to be okay. Brian never really mentioned the fact that this would never be considered, and we never knew about the long-term plan.
Yeah. Well, we have
notified of that.
Yeah, we have a solid document that we spent a lot of money and a lot of time through various public actions, various board actions to determine the highest and best use. You have to look at the Village of Cary. We're in a very particular situation between, we'll say, Barrington, Fox River Grove, and Crystal Lake. Right. We have very little Route 14 frontage. People that want to open up retail and they want to have this, they want Route 14 visibility. And we are trying to accommodate those needs. In our opinion, a storage facility that what you're presenting would be better served in an industrial area. Unfortunately, we are 100% full in our industrial areas. It's a good problem to have, and it's also a very startling problem from a village board perspective. We're looking for new opportunities, but we just don't have anything for you right now.
Even though it butts up against the back side of it is industrial? I mean,
yes.
You're just extending that another few feet, basically.
Right. Well, but I'll disagree with you because right behind, we've been wanting, and it was our long-term plan, is to have a gas station at that particular corner. We've had other gas stations besides Thornton's come to us that wanted to build a gas station there, which we were all supportive of, but the property wouldn't be subdivided. So we lost a lot. So we are trying to really hold on to the values that we have within our community through this board and what the community has asked us to look for. And so we have an obligation to our residents and our businesses to look for the things that are the highest and best use of the property.
And to what extent or time-wise are you looking at giving these retails an opportunity to come in and talk to you?
Well, it's just starting, sir. The subdivision of the property has just been within the last couple of years, not even. So we're just starting to remarket these properties because we had a lot of people have interest in that particular property, but it wasn't subdividable, so they weren't able to do a project.
Okay.
The owner of the property only wanted to sell it in its entirety.
Mr. Mayor, as a person that's dealt with a lot of retail in his lifetime, I would only make this comment. I don't see a retailer that's going to want that strip of land that we're going to use. It's first of all, it would be difficult to get retailers to get in and out. And secondly, it's back of the action. The action's in the gas station up front. And I don't think you'll get anybody in there, in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate your feedback. We're going to give it the old college try and look at what we've planned for all these years. And I appreciate, I feel bad that we have to have this conversation, but I think it's in the best interest. We like to be very transparent. We are very pro-business. We want to have new development opportunities. But we also have this document that we worked so hard to prepare. And I'm sorry that you didn't take a look at that to see this particular parcel. And if you were to look at our comprehensive plan, you will see that it's clearly identified as retail.
Well, if we would have known that ahead of time, then we probably wouldn't have pursued this the way we did.
Okay.
And it
Well,
wasn't conveyed to us at all.
All right, well,
Okay.
I'm going to call the roll for this.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Collier?
Yes.
Dudek?
We're just voting on the waiver.
Just the waivers.
Yes.
Weinhammer?
Yes.
Cavelli?
Yes.
And Walrath?
Yes.
Thank you. We typically will give the petitioner the opportunity to move forward if you like, but we'd like to be very transparent to make sure that you know that where the board feels where we are positioned on this. So you were given, through this board action, you were given the waivers that you had requested. Thank you very much.
May I ask one
Sure.
other question? Is there anywhere else that you've looked in Cary that you felt would meet the needs, whether it's over by the annexed area that we were talking about off of Cary Algonquin, or off of Three Oaks? Is there anywhere else that this type of storage could work in our?
You were saying like the Harding property?
property.
Correct.
Are you talking about the stuff that like right across the street here?
Across from Stryker here, yeah.
Yeah, we were told that we would not be able to do that.
Okay.
Well, there's the Priest property up here is under contract right now. And then the
I'm
parcel
talking
in
to the
front
other
of that
side.
is, again, commercial. It's geared towards retail, and we're going to be
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
hopefully getting
We
some
were told
retail.
that it would be retail only, so that's why we didn't even approach that.
Okay.
Right. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Moving forward, administrator's report. Administrator Rife.
Well, Mayor, you kind of beat me to the punch here earlier today, or earlier this meeting. We just wanted to congratulate the Park District on their opening of Sunburst Bay. So, big project within the village, obviously has been very popular and much needed. So, that's all I had.
Department head reports. Chief Finland.
Just that Director Morimoto and myself are looking at signage for the social district to establish parameters to kind of develop boundaries for the businesses that are taking advantage of those endorsements downtown. So if you see signs popping up, that's what that's about.
Thank you. Director Morimoto? Did you want to echo what the chief just said? Perfectly. Director Simmons? Thank you. Any future agenda items or discussion by the village board? None said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.